I okay, so I'm going to update, no, not update. Okay, I'm just going to talk about all the books that I read in May. And okay, so I am doing this new thing that I want to, keep like a journal of sorts, like all the books I read, and I want to start doing it from May. So the first book that I read, okay, so I read a lot of books in May because it was my exams were all over and I just wanted to, read as much as I could. So the first book that I read was Remina. It's a manga, and I actually reread it because it is like a really good one. And then I talked to my friend about it that she should also read it, and then she read it, and then she was like, yeah, and she liked it too. So then I was like, I should reread it. So yeah, this is I I will give it a 4 out of 5. But like when I first read it, I gave it a 5 out of 5 because it was like one of the best things I've ever read. But then when I reread it, you know, you you change your rating from time to time. So yeah, that is it. Then I started this new manga called Monster, which is like really popular, and I read. I have not completed it. It has 18 volumes, right? And I've read 8 volumes, and all of those are good, but I just didn't find any incentive to move forward because it's like every time I used to complete one volume, I would be like, now what? Like I did not feel curious enough to to the second to go to the next volume. So that was like really sad because I do want to complete it though, but I'm not sure when I will do that. So, yes. Then I read The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. This one. And it is based on a real person, real life situation. And this is like very, you know, uh, graphic book. And I was actually really horrified by it. I don't know why I read it. I shouldn't have read this. This is not like because it is based on real things. It is not even like it's fiction. It is based on real things, and then it's like, oh my god, you know, like if it is fiction, we can understand that it is within a realm. But then when you say that it is based on like a true story, it is not like oh my god. So I gave this a 3 out of 5. I would recommend you read it though. It is a good book. It is not like it's badly written, It is a very nicely written book, but it's just I was actually on a trip when I read this, and I was like, I did not want to read this, but I couldn't stop reading it because then it's like, what happens next, you know? Then I read A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Okay, so I was really angry when I read this book because everybody keeps talking about how great this book is, and it is a massive book. I don't usually read very big books because my attention span is not that good. So, and it has gotten it's got like a really nice rating to it, and then I've also seen so many music videos. No, I've also seen so many YouTube videos talking about the book and then how they are like crying and they are reading the book, and I was like I should also read this just to know if I feel something or not. Then people were like that you should also like you should look into the trigger warnings and stuff, and I did not because well, live on edge. You shouldn't do it. So okay, I I did not cry while reading this book. I did not cry. I was actually feeling really horrified that how can a person write this, you know? Because it's not even, my God, the book description on Goodreads, it says that it is about four friends, like Willem, JB, Malcolm, and Jude. But but this is not about all the four of them. This is only about Jude and how he is so much tortured. He is just tortured in his entire lifetime. Then the ending, I sort of predicted the ending when I was just like reading it, like first part of it, because everyone says like the last, I think it's this Bernard Street or something, the last part of the book, everyone just cries a lot. So I just thought that everybody was going to die and leave Jude behind, or Jude was going to die and leave everyone behind, but like sort of. I just did not really, I don't know, I did not like it because it's just graphic descriptions of violence against him. And one thing that I also did not like is how he's shown this, really sophisticated person who knows how to cook, who is very soft spoken, who is this like, he is shown as this like perfect person with like a mystery because he doesn't like to talk about his past. But then his past is so bad. So how did he learn how to do all of that in like such a short period of time? Because we see that almost everybody apart from the social worker that comes after, everyone has hurt him in his like developmental years and whatnot. So it was mind boggling to read this. I would not recommend that you read it. It is not, that good. I did not like it. I would not recommend you read this. I gave it a 2.6 out of 5. And I was just angry while reading this because how hard, like how bad can you make your character suffer, and then she just does it. It's like, okay, but like calm down. My God, I did not like this book at all. Then it is another manga. It is Pink by Kyōko Okazaki. This one. Oh my God. I'm sorry, it's just not showing anything. Okay. So I really like this book. It is like really fresh. It is fresh, but it is written in 1989. But like it's still fresh. Like I really liked reading this book. I would really recommend that you read it. Then yes, okay. So all of the books that I talked about till now, I read it on my tablet, and this is Memoirs of a Geisha. I have a I have a hard copy. So this I did not just like I did not read it for the first time. I read this many times and then I reread it. This is one of my favorite books I've ever read. This the descriptions in this book are amazing. I always feel like I am, watching a series and not reading a book when I am reading this book. It's just amazing, you know. Like, I really recommend that you read this. My favorite that I've one of my favorite books that I've read ever. उसके बाद then I also read one more manga. It's called Utsubora, the story of a novelist. This now, it is a very nice book, but I think I read it at night, so I I don't remember much of like the plot of it, but the vibe was really good. It was like a really nice book. It is just two volumes, and this is like two in one. So I gave this a 3 out of 5. It is like a really nice book. You should read it. Like, okay. Then it is this Geisha of Gion by Mineko Iwasaki. This I also have a paperback of it. I went to this fair that our city had, and they had this book, and they also had this book. So I bought I bought both of them, but I have another edition of this book, but the uh, binding of it is really fragile. So if I do this, it might just like fall off. So I don't really like to. I was avoiding reading it again, but then I saw these both books there, so I was like I should buy it just for so I can read it once again. So this book is interesting. So if you don't know, like sort of the backstory, it's like Mineko Iwasaki was interviewed by the author of this book, and she accused him of like that uh, the author based the entire story on her, and then she was like that is not how the geisha really are and all of that. And then she released her own like memoir or like an autobiography. So then, so I read this. It is I did not like this. First of all, most like not most sorry. Okay, so okay, so like this much part of the book is just her being 3 years old and her talking about her very vivid experiences when she was 3 years old, and I just found it very unbelievable because how can you remember so much of when you were 3 years old? It's just, and then she also talks about stuff which is like, okay, I understand that this is an autobiography and not a fictional book. So me uh, talking about her would seem like I am critiquing her, but I'm not critiquing her. I'm critiquing her writing style because it just feels like she is not very likable. I did not like her when I read this book. It just feels like she knows that she is the best in everything and that everyone is jealous of her, but at the same time, everyone is in love with her and wants to be her. It was just, I did not like this. I would not, but if you are reading this book, I think you should also read this book because just for fun, maybe you would, maybe you would have a different reaction than I did. So yeah, I gave this a 2.5 out of 5, and I would not read this again. I would read that again, but I would not read this again. Then this is also a reread. Fault in Our Stars. I have read this so many times over the years, up until I think it was COVID. This is actually the book that I bought. Like the first time I bought it, I was like 11 or 12 years old. That's when I bought it. So it has like this. It's very badly, not badly. This book is loved. This book was loved, but then something happened. Something bad happened. Okay, so then I stopped reading it, and then it was just shoved into a cupboard for like so long. And then I was just going through all my old books, and then I was like, oh my god, it has been so long since I've read this book. It has actually been 4 years since I've read this book. And then I was like, I will just picture someone else when I'm reading about Augustus. And then I read this book, and it's so funny that I remember almost everything that happened. like almost, not almost, everything that happened. And it was just like, wow, it just felt so nostalgic to read it in a way. When I first read this, I gave it a 5 out of 5. And if I were to rate it now, I would probably give it a 3, but I am not changing my rating because first impressions. This is the one of the first books that I ever read, and I feel like if I change this rating, it would be sort of a bad thing to do to like the younger me. So I'm not going to change my rating. I'm going to keep it the same way as it is. But yes, I would I would recommend you read this because this is so 2016 in a way. Is it also is it was it written? No, sorry. This was written in 2012. I'm sorry. So this is so like that era, and I just feel like everyone should read this because everyone has read this book. Everyone has watched the movie. I also tried to watch the movie after reading this book. I also watched the movie many times, but then I started watching it and I did not like it. I was like, oh my god, what is happening? So I just feel like the past me and the present me, they have very different tastes, and yeah, but this was like a nice nostalgic read. So okay, then I read Death Note. I did not complete Death Note. I have read 6 volumes of Death Note, and then I stopped reading it. And I don't think I am planning on reading any of it again. Not any of it. Like I'm not planning to read after like 7, 8, 9, whatever, because I did not like this. It just felt very okay. So there's two main characters. One is Light, and then the second is, I don't know the second one. It is He's a detective of sorts, right? And then most of like the thing I remember about it most is like uh, Light does something, and then the detective is like, this is how he should have done this, and then just what Light is saying, that is what the detective is saying, and what the detective is saying is what Light is saying, and it may feel like, wow, they both are so intelligent, but it just comes off to me as lazy writing. Like, I don't know, maybe if life was a little bit, I don't know, dumb, that would have been like a fun read. But it's just like, how can he be so, I don't know, so good at what he does? He has school, he's at the top of his class, he knows how to code and everything. It's like, it just doesn't feel real. But then of course this has like a certain supernatural aspect to it, so nothing about it is real. But yeah, I just felt like, mm, I did not like reading this at all. And one of uh, also one more thing, if I could critic, is that the lack of female characters. This only has uh, this one girl who is in love with Light, and it just feels like, for what? For saving her life. But then, if I read it correctly, he did not save his life. He did not save her life. Rem saved her life. No, no, Rem did not save her life. Someone else saved her life, and then she feels that she thinks that Light saved her life, and then she's just like in love with him or something. So it's like I also did not get the whole thing that she's just in love with him all of a sudden, and then she's just like, I can do anything for Light and stuff, and it did not feel authentic to me. I was like, okay, is she ill? Like, if she's not like ill, sorry, no, what the fuck? How can one be in love with somebody so easy? It's just like, it did not speak to me that much. But then I still read like 6 volumes of it, but I don't feel like I will read more. Did not, no, I would not read it. Uske baad, this is like the last thing that I read. It is a manga. It is called Manhole by Tetsuya Tsutsui. This one is really nice. It has 3 volumes. It is a really, It's really fast paced, and it is also like a very nice read. You can just finish it in two, maybe three sittings. It's just like a really nice thing. I gave the first two volumes 4 out of 5, and I gave the last one a 3 out of 5. I would recommend you read it. A, it is graphic, so if you don't like that, then don't read it. Yeah, this is also really nice. Okay, so yeah, that is basically it. All the books that I read. Okay, bye.